I just kind of feel sort of sick to the stomach after all this, and just really sickened. He had only just told me that breadcrumbing, they call it, that he wished to, continue things, and he was feeling more positive about stuff, and all that. And then he goes and schedules a lunch with going out to lunch with his ex-wife again, behind my back, and then tells me about it after the fact, and this is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do that, and whatever, knowing full well that I had expressed that was a boundary of mine. I didn't care for that, for them to not have any contact, but I had said multiple times, I'm not comfortable with you, hanging out and chatting all the time, and that sort of thing. In fact, when I was out there, just a couple weeks ago, we were on a walk. We were walking in Blackburn, Melbourne, Victoria, walking by the creek, and we were talking, and his phone buzzed and went bing. And he pretended not to hear it. He knew who it was. It was her. And I said, well, who's that? What is that? And he said, oh, what do you mean? I don't know. What? You totally, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. He's in his pocket, and then I said, no, that was your phone. You got a text. Who was that? Yeah, just really casual, Oh, what was that? I mean, it was completely audible, and his phone actually buzzed at the same time. So sure enough, he pulled it out, and I said, oh, is that her? He said, yeah. And I said, oh, what'd she say? And oh, I had asked her about to tell me about how it's going with finding a job, and to let me know. I said, huh, really? You want to keep up to date with her, huh? Cool. And now, I'd made it very clear that I'm not comfortable with them sharing locations, which is what they had been doing, like on the Life 360 app, and, tracking each other. And I'm not comfortable with him, like chatting with his ex-wife all the time. And phone calls and texting and stuff like that, which is what's been going on. And then just the other day, let's see, today is Friday, and just on not Wednesday, it was Tuesday, so today is the Friday, the 23rd of September. So it was like on Tuesday, I guess. Yeah, he told me So just so you know, I scheduled to have lunch with Theresa on Sunday to celebrate her getting a new job. It was like he'd taken a shard of glass and stuck it through me. Oh, cool. You do that. You know? You know, meanwhile, you're talking to me, you know, like, I'm not gonna go into graphic detail, but like, you know, virtual sleeping with me, basically, and, you know, video chatting with me every day, and we're, you know, going along full awareness that, you know, like, you know, what's happening, you know? And meanwhile, he's, you know, chatting with her, phone calls with her, and scheduling to go out to lunch together, and we're just friends. They were together for a long time. Throughout the past 6 years that since he and I have been talking and, you know, in a relationship, basically. I've, you know, at first I tolerated it, but, you know, pretty soon it was sort of like, well, but like, if we're together, like, this is sort of like not cool, you know, like, for you to be like, you know, house sitting for her, going to her house to put together furniture for her, going out to lunch, going out and doing stuff together, you know, like, you know, and all sort of like separate from me. And so I was like a secret from her, basically. He wouldn't be honest with her about me because he was embarrassed to admit it to her, which shows that he really cares about what she thinks about him. And and then she was a secret for me because he wasn't open with me about their communication and how much it was and how intimate and how personal and how, you know, whatever. And, you know, I don't know how they talk. You know, I was never allowed to be part of their exclusive little dynamic. And I offered to, when I was last there, to, you know, like, hey, you guys want to be friends? Well, hey, what about me? Let's all party, guys. Let's let's have a dinner or something, you know, let's have a coffee together, you know, let's break the ice and not have it be so like secretive and, you know, like separate, you know. It's just weird. Like, why am I, you know, it's like you're keeping both of us as like a backup option if one of us, you know, if it doesn't work out with one or something like that. I don't know. So yeah, earlier in the year we resumed communicating. It was about in March, I think it was, and we went through, you know, several rounds of kind of like talking things out and whatever. And you know, the natural feelings sort of naturally surfaced as they do. And I was meant to come out in May, but I had I had to reschedule the plane because I had something fall through with regards to childcare and all that stuff, and I was moving. I moved to North Oxnard, and so he helped me pay for rescheduling the flight. And the soonest and cheapest reschedule was August. So I rescheduled it for a couple weeks in August, but things were sort of, lots of stuff was changing in my world, and I wasn't actually sure how long I was going to stay. And it was looking like it was going to be longer. So we weren't sure yet. And I wasn't sure yet either. But I was prepared to do whatever I needed to do to make it all work. Because he very obviously was very interested too. So I was prepared to do whatever I needed to. So we had a great time when I got out there. When I got there, sort of like the elephant in the room was the issue of Theresa. It's like, well, so what about this, He told me that he told her that I was coming there and that we'd been talking again. When she asked how long for, he said a month, but actually it had been many months. March, April, May, June, July, August, about five or 6 months, I mean, it was started in February loosely and then kind of went from there. And he said that she said, why? And that he got really embarrassed by the whole thing. And that this was on the first night that I arrived, after he picked me up, and we were all sort of like a little bit awkward with each other, kind of like, oh, okay, so, and then it was sort of like, well, what's next? Well, I guess I'm just gonna point out the elephant in the room. And then he starts saying, oh, I knew that, because it's so uncomfortable, oh, I knew we shouldn't have done this, what? So, and then we had sex right after that. But lots and lots of it throughout the whole trip. But it was just for fun, didn't mean anything, right? Yeah, it was just for fun, right? We actually had a really good time. We hung out with some friends of his. We had a nice time. Everything was fine, except for that one thing. And I let him know that, hey, I'm not comfortable with you guys hanging out. I'm not comfortable with you guys tracking each other's location. I'm just, not comfortable with that. So I said, so what do you say? Give this another shot. And he said, yeah, okay. So I left in about April of this year. We started to join forces in a business venture, putting together an agency. I'll talk more about that later. So yeah, it took a couple months for that to get set up. I've had a bit of a rough past couple of months.